All right. Hello. That is loud. Hi, everybody. I'm going to move. I am like tangled up.
That's kind of the mood today.
It is. It's the mood today. Hey, everybody. You know what? I'm just going to bring John in. There's no use. There's no use for me to try to talk and just pretend like I know what I'm doing. Welcome in, everybody, to the KSL Stream Center on this Friday. We are talking cool stuff in Utah. No reason to dilly-dally and to pretend like I'm going to give some grand introduction because you, John, are the grand introduction. Hey, it's been a week. And I need some interaction from folks today. How about that? And
yes, please.
We're talking cool stuff in Utah, and we're talking Lagoon. And I asked John if we could talk about this particular episode, 2 episodes, in fact.
Right.
Part 1, part 2, because I was driving past Lagoon earlier this week, coming back from a story, and I saw the big banner that said open on weekends.
Right.
And that is the signal to me that, oh my goodness, we are here. We are to that point in the year where we're approaching summer, and it brought back all these memories of my childhood going to Lagoon and just, all the things, right, John?
You know, it's crazy. Like I try to explain this to my kid. Like before social media, we had the sky ride.
The
kids would go on the sky ride.
Still have the sky ride.
And then you'd see a cute girl or guy.
And then you go back and forth, and forth.
Hey, meet me at the terror ride.
Hey, you still do that.
Oh, totally. Well,
you still do that.
I make my wife go to the other side.
I love it.
And then we're like, hey.
Well, so now you have a teenager.
Yes.
I have 2 teenagers, and they are going to Lagoon now. And so this is a thing. And growing up, I went there. I performed there as a kid. And I love that you have 2 episodes here and tell the history of it. So set us up here because we're going to watch part 1. We'll talk about it and we'll watch part 2. But here's where I need interaction. People are watching. I see you on Facebook. I see you on YouTube. I know people have stories about Lagoon, and I want to hear your stories, and I want to hear about your favorite rides, and I want to hear how Lagoon has been a part of your family's history.
Yes.
Because it is Friday, and I need some interaction from you folks. And I know you're out there. So if you're watching, I'm watching for your comments. Say hello. Be a part of this conversation with me because I don't like the silence from you.
She's desperate.
Come
on.
I want interaction
in her voice.
I want interaction. I know you're out there. I know you're watching all right now, 13, 17 of you.
So here's the thing with Lagoon. And this Lagoon, if you've grown up in Utah, which Shara and I both have, Lagoon is one of those things that we just kind of take for granted because it's always been here. And when I say it's always been here, like it's always been here. For 180 years, Lagoon has been a family-owned, locally run amusement park, which these days in corporate world, the corporate America of Six Flags and Busch Gardens and Disney, locally owned theme parks of this magnitude and of this size, they don't exist. This is one of the only family-owned theme parks left in the world. Amazing. And they are still pumping out new rides each and every year.
It's incredible.
So I love going to Lagoon. I love talking about Lagoon because it is such an integral part of the fabric that makes up Utah.
It is. Okay, let's watch part 1. Here we go.
Okay, let's do it. Being here at Lagoon when the park is closed is a bucket list for me. And even though it is an operating, functional amusement park, there is a ton of history inside. In fact, this park has been here for 135 years. It's one of the oldest amusement parks in the nation. They used to do this thing in the 80s and 90s. You could bring a can of Coke, and if you'd say the bird is the word, they'd give you like $5 off. They still give you $7 off your ticket. So Lagoon started as Lake Park in 1896. It was on the shores of the Great Salt Lake. A couple of years later, when the lake was receding, it moved to its current location. Closed for a couple of years because of this whole World War II thing. When it reopened, the park was in a little bit of disrepair. It needed a lot of work. That's when the Freed brothers stepped in and created the Lagoon Amusement Corporation. They have been operating the park ever since. It is one of the oldest and only family-owned parks in the United States. Way back in the 1940s, you'd get a lot of big band entertainment acts, but because of Utah law at the time didn't allow black families to use the pool and use the ballroom with white families, even though some of the artists that were playing here were in fact black artists. The Freed family actually lobbied to have the laws changed and were instrumental in changing the codes here in Utah. When you think about the historic rides at Lagoon, obviously the carousel, right? Built in 1908. And the roller coaster, which was built in 1921. But the other historic ride is the Flying Aces, built in 1947. What's more American than that? We beat the Nazis, and then we started opening roller coasters and amusement parks again. This is an area called Game Time. It's now a video arcade, but back in the day, it was the patio gardens. This is where kids would be dancing to Janis Joplin, to the Doors, to the Who, to the Rolling Stones. In fact, in 1966, they actually had a chance to book the Beatles, but they would have cost $10,000. They spent $5,000 and booked the Rolling Stones instead. I'll be honest, I'd rather see the Stones. So if you find these pictures of the Who and Janis Joplin playing in here, you'll see these starlights kind of hanging there. You can see this rounded edge kind of poking out above that wall. That was the stage. The Monkees played there. So as if a global pandemic and a moderate earthquake weren't enough, the Salt Lake area also had a major windstorm in September of 2020. It downed more than 200 trees. Some of the trees fell on the attractions, one of which was Bulgy the Whale. And sadly, Bulgy, a childhood favorite of mine, was pretty much destroyed by that tree stump right over there. The people at Lagoon found an original Bulgy the Whale from the 1950s for sale on the internet. And check it out! Bulgy's back! Dude, I can't believe it. We're walking on the original roller coaster at Lagoon. I always call it the white roller coaster, even though if you look, obviously it's not white anymore. In the 50s, they started whitewashing to protect it from the elements. This was originally from 1921. Part of it burned down in a famous lagoon fire in 1953. So sections of the roller coaster are rebuilt every year. Even though it looks and feels just as rickety as it might have in 1921, it's very, very safe. This carousel, not merry-go-round, merry-go-rounds just have horses. Each one of these characters hand-carved. It was transported to Lagoon in 1906, built sometime in the 1800s. If you look up in the tops, when you're closest to the roller coaster, you can actually see charred wood that it's the remnants of that 1953 fire. So one of the Lagoon classics, one of my all-time favorite rides, the Tarot Ride, created by a guy named Bill Tracy, who was famous in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s for his spooky dark rides. And there's actually two Bill Tracy rides here at Lagoon. One is this one, the other is Dracula's Castle. I want to say it was like back in like 2009, they took out this mural, Monster Baseball. I was so bummed. And they replaced it with like this creepy vulture thing. But then, to celebrate the anniversary a couple of years ago, they brought it back. We're walking the Tarot Ride. I'm so excited. This is so cool. These are all original to the ride when it was first created by Bill Tracy in the 1960s. So these are actual wax figures from the day that the ride opened, which is really cool. Oh yeah, this is a classic right here.
There are these troll figures.
Right.
Which you may remember in the past they were behind glass.
It's so funny that like people lose their minds over certain things nowadays, but like back in the day, like in the wholesome 1950s and 60s Americana, you've got a bloated green head with entrails hanging out of it. And everybody was like, oh, that's so cute. And this is the dreaded horn. It gets me every time.
Okay, John. A lot of people weighing in right now. I asked, what is favorite Lagoon ride? Always be the white roller coaster. Bree said. Jeff said Wild Mouse.
Classic.
Classic.
Another classic.
Wild Mouse. That always hurt, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I mean, my brothers would just jam me up against the side of that Wild Mouse every time. So I agree. Definitely a fun one, but most painful one for sure. Jessica said the Ferris wheel. So lots of fun. I love that. Just good answers right
No
now.
love for Colossus. That's crazy. Colossus is one of the best roller coasters in the world.
Colossus is great. What would you say would be one of your favorite newer rides? I like the is it the Bat? The Bat is the one you stand up, right?
The Bat, yeah, you hang down. The Bat is it's
You start standing, right? But your
inverted
feet
coaster.
hang.
Your feet are hanging.
Yeah, I like the Bat.
There's also the Spider, which is a one-of-a-kind ride. They actually invented this for
I get
Lagoon.
sick on it.
And it's like riding on the teacups and a roller coaster at the same
I guess
time.
it spins so much that I can't. I'm old. I'm old
when
now.
it comes to new rides, you can't top Cannibal. Cannibal is one of the premier
Oh,
roller
you
coasters
guys.
on the entire planet right now, and we have it in our own backyard.
Cannibal's nuts.
Yeah, and it was designed in-house by Lagoon's engineers.
Okay, the thing I don't understand the physics of it. How is it that we can sit in the way we sit so that latch comes down and you can go in that corkscrew? I don't understand how I am not dead after I come off that ride.
I tell fart jokes for a living. I'm not an engineer, so I don't know either.
It's insane. And the inverted drop on it, it is, my kids absolutely love it.
Absolutely. It's one of a kind. Like, it has not been replicated anywhere in the world.
So the last time we were at Lagoon over the summer, so I don't go on it anymore.
You've aged out.
I've been on it 2 or 3 times, and I can't do it anymore. But so I send my kids, which they're fine. They're 11 and 14.
Right.
And they went on it this last time, and all of a sudden the ride shut down. And a half hour later, I'm wondering where my children are, and I'm sitting there.
Still on it?
The ride got stuck, and they were stuck in the shaft.
Oh, that's so cool.
And they got stuck hanging in there
Oh, they're so lucky.
for a half hour.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
As a mother, it might have been the scariest half hour of my life.
Yeah, I'll
thinking they were just hanging in that cart.
I'll bet.
And eventually they came down, and we got free meals out of it. It was great.
Hey, there you go. Score.
Okay, but I do want to talk about the fact that the music history. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was in one of those musical groups growing up. Miss Margine's Musical Theater from West Valley. Shout out. Hey.
You do like bad 90s songs.
I mean, like we went
sing
and
Paula
like
Abdul.
bop, 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 dancing. I'm sorry, guys. It's one of those days. It's one of those Fridays. I'm going to be that girl.
I distract her. That's fine.
It's fine. But we went and performed on those stages. But to hear you talk about those incredibly popular, huge music groups that came to Lagoon to perform,
Yeah.
are you kidding me?
Yeah. So you had the Doors, the
The
Rolling
Doors,
Stones,
the Rolling Stones?
Jimi Hendrix, the Who. And there's pictures of all of this, and you can still see remnants of the stage in the Game Time Arcade. But there's also another level of this. The Freed family, who still owns Lagoon, they were instrumental in allowing African American artists to perform in front of white audiences here in the state of Utah. In the 1940s,
That's amazing.
segregation was still a thing all over the country, and Lagoon the people that owned Lagoon also owned the Terrace Ballroom in Salt Lake City. And they said that artists like Louis Armstrong and B.B. King and Little Richard had to be allowed to, 1, use the front entrance, and 2, be able to eat and stay in the same hotels as any other artist that they would book, or they would not be allowed to play in Salt Lake City. And it worked. So
Wow.
instrumental in ending that small sliver of racism in Utah, which is awesome to think about for history.
That is incredible. Bree says here on Facebook, the Beach Boys.
Yeah,
The Beach Boys.
Beach Boys played there so many times. They actually wrote a song about it.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Beach Boys loved coming to Salt Lake City and played Lagoon several times.
Oh my, this is wild that we have this right
Yeah.
in our backyard off of I-15. I mean,
And it's right there.
all right, and the Sky Ride, our kids going to, I mean, there's such history there. Okay, so that was part 1. You shot this a few years ago. Again,
Yeah.
we're bringing this back because, again, we're going into the summer. This brings up so many memories. So what are we going to see here in part 2?
Okay, so there's a couple of things that I want to set you up for in part 2 that I want you to watch for. 1, we go into Pioneer Village, and we talk
okay.
about all of the authentic history that you can just walk up and touch, which is unheard of in America these days.
And you talked to, why they keep Pioneer Village? Explain that.
So Pioneer Village were actually several buildings located around the Ogden, Weber, and Davis County areas. And these buildings were all set to be torn down in the 1970s for housing and for urban expansion. And the Freed family bought the buildings and relocated them and created Pioneer Village. And so they had this passion for history. A lot of these things are from Salt Lake City. For example, the clock was in downtown Salt Lake City. There's a fountain that's in Town Square in Pioneer Village that was once in Salt Lake City.
The ice cream shop.
The ice cream shop was in Davis County. Original cabins. There's also part of the original governor's mansion, Governor Dern, the carriage house, which is supposedly haunted. You can look that up on your own if you're into that sort of thing.
Okay.
And then the other thing, this is probably one of the biggest coups that I've ever been able to pull off in 30 years of doing media and sneaking into buildings. I got pictures inside the old funhouse. As far as I know,
That place is creepy.
I am literally
No offense,
the only
Lagoon.
one I know that doesn't work at Lagoon. I'm the only one from the media that has ever been able to get in there.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Here's part two.
Prove me wrong if you can.
Okay, everyone watching, chiming in on Facebook, I appreciate it. I love seeing your comments. Keep weighing in. I love seeing these. Here's part 2 of Lagoon from John Smith. Cool things, cool stuff in Utah from the era. Watch this.
Today we're going to talk about something inside a lagoon. We're going to talk about an authentic pioneer village. So you have all these terraces that are at Lagoon, one of which is the Rose Terrace. And just looking at it, it looks just like any other terrace that you'd see, except for this is part of the original Lake Park from 1886. In the park's original location on the shores of the Great Salt Lake, this is the terrace that was part of the main structure of Lake Park. 1886, it's 130 years old. I will spend tons of time back here. There's so much Utah history just in this one little area. Pioneer Village is an actual pioneer village. They relocated all of these structures from elsewhere in Utah. None of this is reproduction, except for the Arby's, one of the biggest gun museums in the state, one of the largest collections of original Utah currency in the state, on display, just part of when you come to Lagoon. It's awesome. Among the many artifacts inside the gun museum, inside Pioneer Village, inside Lagoon, you will find hundreds of weapons from throughout history. This here is a collection of crossbows from the 1600s, literally from the 17th century. In the English, coach riding days, they would only have 2 shots, and then once they were out, they were out. You would release a spring, and then this spear would come out, and you'd just start poking people with it. Ta-cha! Ah. Butch and Sundance, right there. And these are some of their actual guns on display in Pioneer Village. These are Revolutionary War muskets, like literally the muskets that built this country. Okay, so this, an actual flag from the Civil War. You can see it's in rough shape because, well, it was in the Civil War. I mean, what are you gonna do? This was a flag that was captured by Union soldiers. Fun fact about pioneers, they loved beef and cheddar and curly fries. This is one of the original Pioneer Arby's in, oh, so that's not true? No? Okay, I still get Arby's though, right? This is one of the cool hidden treasures in Pioneer Village, is this fountain. So you had like a cherub face on the side that would spit water into the trough, and then water would come out on the bottom here. And in the early 1900s, they were all over the country, presented by the National Humane Alliance. So what it was meant to do is for people to fill up their cups from the cherub's mouth, and then horses could drink from the trough, and then cats and dogs could drink from the bottom. I don't know why we don't still do that. That seems super handy. So the funhouse at Lagoon has been closed since 1986. 35 years this area has been off limits, and I've literally been trying to get in there ever since. That right there, that used to be the door to the old funhouse. It's now the Shake Shack. I got to go in ever so briefly and take a couple of pictures. There's not much of the funhouse left, and everything that you remember about the funhouse is gone, save for the very tops of the slides that are still visible. So obviously there's a lot of history in a park that's been operating for 135 years. Adam Leishman from Lagoon is here. He's kind of the expert. He's the guy that's been kind enough to walk us around and show us everything. Adam, tell us where we're standing.
Right, so Simon Bamberger, who was the governor, also owned a railway, Bamberger Railway, it was an electric railway. The train actually went from Salt Lake to Ogden eventually, and Lagoon was its destination. The train track was going down 200 West in Farmington, which is this. So this area right here was the train track.
Okay, so one of my favorites at Lagoon, tidal wave on the lagoon for which Lagoon is named. The original lagoon was actually much larger than this, and it was actually part of an ice house structure where people would come and they would dig out ice. That's where this lagoon started way back in the 1800s. Tastes great! Less filling! Tastes great! Some of you will get that joke. So back in the day, they would do cowboy shootouts right down Main Street in Pioneer Village. They stopped them in like 1991, like 30 years ago, and people still ask, hey, what time's the Pioneer shootout? But they would stand right here in the middle of Main Street, and you'd have cowboys come out, and like, with everybody standing around, they'd pull out six-shooters and be like, bam, 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 bam. And, you know, a lot of people got hurt, so they stopped doing it. So Lagoon moved to its current location in 1896, and this building behind me was already here. So that makes this the oldest freestanding structure on park property. It actually predates the park. This is the Davis County Jail. So this was actually built in 1895, and it was used as a jail until 1919. So if you were on the train and you got rowdy, the Davis County Sheriff would be like, lock them up, boys! And here you would sit. And all of this is original. No, hey, what? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, no!
I honestly, John, I am absolutely blown away at the history in itself at that location. There is so much history there between what you showed us in Pioneer Village and just the structures itself, the gun collection. Oh my goodness.
One of the most valuable gun collections in the entire world.
And it's just there.
Right there. On
for
display,
anyone to go
free of
see
charge
and walk
once you
in there
get
next
the
to
park.
Arby's.
Yeah, next to an Arby's.
That's incredible. It's incredible.
And the Confederate battle flag, especially like me, I'm a history, like I'm a fiend for history. That's why I do this. And seeing, you know, actual captured Civil War artifacts on display here in Utah that you can just go see and literally just look at up close. It's a very rare opportunity. Like this sort of thing should be in a Smithsonian style.
It's amazing. Here's what I love. I love that you can combine like history buffs, entertainment enthusiasts, adrenaline junkies. It's all in one.
All in one. A whole day of fun.
I really like. You can take the grandkids, let them go run around and jump on rides, and you can go learn some history walking through Pioneer Village.
Absolutely.
I mean, and get a hamburger at the same time.
And get an Arby's.
And get the corn, the dipped in the butter corn.
Yes. Watch out for the meat bees.
What's that?
You've never seen the meat bees?
No.
Okay, so when you get your corn in Pioneer Village and you sit on the grass, you got to watch out because the meat bees, they'll come and get you. They're the bees that fly around the garbage can and try to get your empty.
Oh, I didn't know. So, we didn't even talk about Laguna Beach. I mean,
that's a whole nother thing. And like we spent, I think, and this was obviously filmed in the off season, so that's why there's nobody in the park. But we filmed this. It took us 5 hours. We have 5 hours of footage. I could do 2 more full episodes off the stuff that we didn't use, including Laguna Beach, which is a great water park.
Yeah.
You remember you had 2 options for water parks back in the day. You had Raging Waters and you had Seven Peaks.
Worked at Raging Waters.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way.
And then in 1986, Laguna Beach comes around, and then you're like, wait a minute. So I can go.
Still one of my favorite places.
Go ride on water slides and on roller coasters.
All in one day. In one day.
Yes.
And then you go wet and ride on all the roller coasters.
And that's how you get dry.
Oh, you guys, it's so fun to talk about this. Aletta, I think I said your name right. Skate Park Day was fun. Bree said, I remember the paddle boats on the lake.
Oh, I miss those.
Darlene said, we used to go on Father's Day when it was $9.95 before noon and all fathers got in free. I remember, I don't know about you, John, like we would have our steak day. Like
Steak Lagoon Day.
The Steak Lagoon Day. Everyone would go. You'd bring in your coolers. Everybody have the big steak dinner. Everyone in the big pavilions. You'd all come. Everybody in your steak would go eat dinner, and then you'd all run off and go again.
You get your little tickets.
You get your little tickets.
Yeah.
Oh, the little tickets. You get snow
Remember
cones.
those?
The snow cone tickets too.
Yes.
Oh, I feel like we could
one
reminisce.
of the only parks in the world where you can actually take your own food in.
Yep, I've seen people coming in with their coolers all the
walk in with your
time.
coolers. This is another secret that I don't know why more people don't know this, but you remember back in the 1980s and 1990s, they did a big promotion with Coca-Cola where you could take an empty Coke can and say the bird is the word.
Bird is the word.
And they would give you $5 off.
Bird is the word. Yep.
They still do that.
Oh, they do.
They will still do that. If you take
Okay.
an empty Coke can and say bird is the word,
Yeah.
You still get a discount on your ticket.
I got to tell you, the season pass is still a pretty good deal. I mean,
right?
Our kids get them. They've been getting them for summers. You know, you figure out if you go like 4 times, you've gotten your season pass worth, and you go. And obviously, it's hard to get up there sometimes. You know, we live down in the Sandy area, so try to figure out, do you put them on the track train and send them up?
I just go after work. My wife and kid go, and then I just meet them there after work because we've got the season pass.
Speaking of the funhouse right there, the slide. Remember the slide?
Yeah, absolutely. The slide is the only thing that's still left in the funhouse. There's an urban legend going around that all of the stuff is still in there.
Okay.
The building has been completely gutted, except for the remnants of the potato sack slides.
The potato sacks. Okay. This is a fun one, John.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you had fun.
I really liked going back and looking at it. So many fun memories. I think most Utahns have some sort of memory at Lagoon, and I think that there are years and years and years to come of more memories. And I love that Utah has this, you know, the fact that we have these roller coasters that we build here, right?
Yeah.
And then we ship them out all over the country.
Absolutely.
But that we have this in our own backyard,
Yeah.
which is, I think, so cool, and the history that is at Lagoon.
So much fun.
So much fun. Everyone, thanks for weighing in. I love the interaction. I love hearing these stories. I love the music history we have at Lagoon as well. So if you didn't catch the full episodes, obviously you can watch back and watch these 2 full episodes here on this stream. But you can catch all of these and more cool stuff in Utah. Where do you get them, John?
Yeah, just go to our YouTube page and type in cool stuff in Utah. You'll see the 103.5, the arrow page will come up. There's like 70 something episodes that we've made. And people have been asking, when are you filming a new one? We're actually filming the rest of the latest episode. We're filming that today.
Ooh.
In a building that I've literally been trying to get into for 10 years.
10 years?
I got into the Warm Springs Plunge building.
Up the street. You've been talking about this forever.
I've been talking about this forever. Yeah, they let me in. And I got some footage. And
we talked about it on one of our episodes.
Yes.
We said if somebody knows how to get John in.
I can't tell you how I got in, but I did get in.
Somebody knew how to get you in.
We're going to have that for you in a couple of weeks.
Ooh, I'm excited. Okay, we will bring you right back here. We will talk about it. I'm excited to see what you found. I want to know if it's haunted.
Very.
Oh, this will be good. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us in the KSL Stream Center here on a Friday as we talk about cool stuff in Utah with John Smith. We hope you have a great weekend. John, thanks for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you.